The face of child labor, from Africa to Asia, Europe, and the Americas. It's still here and has the power to haunt. But is the world powerless to change that face? Some important progress has been made in tackling child labor. Globally, there are now 30 million fewer working children than 10 years ago. However, there are still an estimated 215 million girls and boys trapped in child labor. In 2006, the pace of progress was such that the international community set an ambitious goal to eliminate the worst forms of child labor within 10 years. But in more recent years, progress towards this goal has slowed, and many of the children now remaining in child labor are among the hardest to reach. More than half of all child laborers are in the most hazardous forms of work. Some 60% are in agriculture, with large numbers also involved in domestic work and services such as street vending. Also at risk of severe exploitation are children involved in commercial sexual exploitation, slavery, and forced labor, including those forced into armed conflict. There have, however, been successes, and there is a pattern to that success. The key to achieving the 2016 goal is renewed political commitment to make child labor a priority and integrated policies that scale up programs to tackle child labor. This means we must put children into school and provide a quality education, provide social protection to vulnerable households, and to tackle discrimination. Provide an environment in which adults can have decent work. Pass and enforce laws to target child labor and protect children. Africa has the highest incidence of child labor in the world. 1 of every 4 African children under the age of 14 is working, and that number has been increasing at an alarming rate. But beyond the despair, there's also progress. By abolishing school fees, some sub-Saharan African countries have been world leaders in getting children out of child labor and into primary school, and girls, often among the most disadvantaged, have been among the main beneficiaries. Since Uganda introduced universal primary education, school enrollment has more than doubled, and in 2008, Parliament passed a bill making primary school compulsory. But Uganda still faces an uphill battle to deliver quality education to all, and part of the reason is HIV. In Uganda alone, more than 1 million children have lost one or both parents to HIV/AIDS. Mbali town is typical. With their family life destroyed by HIV/AIDS, many of Mbali's children are forced onto the streets and into work. Uganda now has a national child labor policy that addresses HIV issues and receives active support of social partners and community groups. One initiative involved neighborhood committees monitoring the community to ensure children were staying in school.
We visit children at school to check the academic performance of the children. We talk with them. We share with them. We make them busy in the school, not to go back into child labor.
Employers who thought paying a child to work helped a family came out of ILO workshops with changed attitudes.
I believe there is a lot that employers can do to mitigate the negative consequences of child labor. First and foremost, I would advise them to seek more information about the legislation. Then after they have realized that it is a problem, there is need for collective effort.
Due to rural poverty and the sheer size of its population, there are millions of child laborers in India, and children can suffer from malnutrition. But these stark facts are behind one of the largest efforts to get children out of child labor and into school. The midday meal scheme is the world's biggest school lunch program. Since it was adopted on a national level, millions of families who sometimes cannot afford enough food can help feed their children by sending them to school and keeping them out of child labor. India is also making an effort to bring together policies on healthcare, rural employment, and compulsory education, putting the family at the center of the fight against child labor. Its Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme aims to provide a basic safety net to the rural poor. A vibrant civil society movement supports efforts to tackle child labor. Self-help groups work with families at risk, deliver economic empowerment programs for adults, and raise awareness. Changing community attitudes and behavior is an important part of the effort to tackle child labor.
ಈಗಿನ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಓದುವುದು ಬರೆಯೋದು ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಮನುಷ್ಯನಿಗೂ ಬೇಕಾಗಿದ್ದೆ. ಅವನು ತನ್ನ ಕಾಲ ಮೇಲೆ ತಾನು ನಿಂತ್ಕೋಬೇಕು, ಒಳ್ಳೆ ನಾಗರಿಕನಾಗಬೇಕು, ಮತ್ತು ಸಮಾಜದಲ್ಲಿ ತನ್ನನ್ನು ತಾನು ಉಳಿಸ್ಕೋಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ ಓದು ಬರೋ ಮುಖ್ಯ ಆಗಿದೆ.
Perhaps the most ambitious effort to integrate different approaches is happening in Brazil. While young street peddlers are a common sight here, there is broad political consensus that child labor must be tackled.
Agora é preciso ter políticas públicas, que os governos tenham a preocupação de criar políticas públicas que dê oportunidade às crianças estarem na escola.
Além da sociedade, é importante também uma participação mais efetiva do poder público. A realização, a implementação de políticas públicas é fator fundamental para que a gente possa avançar e ter uma Bahia livre do trabalho infantil.
Bahia State has made considerable progress by integrating actions of different ministries aimed at reaching the goal of a child labor-free state. Brazil's program to eradicate child labor, known as PETI, gets children out of hazardous forms of work and puts them in school. To keep children from working after school is finished, PETI provides after-school programs. To prevent child labor and promote education, the Bolsa Familia program provides cash transfers in the form of a personal electronic card to almost 12 million families. The transfer is on condition that children attend school and participate in health and nutrition programs. There is still much to be done to achieve the goals set for 2016. And the recent global economic and employment crisis raises new challenges. However, it's a clear pattern all over the world. Good governance, that means sound policies and programs, can make a big difference. When government, social partners, and civil society come together to promote the right policies, it can make real change happen. And that can change the faces of millions of the world's children at risk of child labor.
ಶಾಲೆಗೆ ಬರ್ರಿ ನೀವು ಭೀ ನಾವು ಭೀ ಹಿಂಗೆ ಕಳ್ಳಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಿದ್ದೇವೆ ಈಗ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ತೋದಿನ ಶಾಲೆಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ಲತ್ತಿದ್ದೆ ಹುಷಾರಾಗಿದ್ದೇವೆ ನೀವು ಭೀ ಬರ್ರಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ.
Where there is political will, there can be progress. Let us work together towards our goal, an end to child labor.